Alright, today we're going to install some trim molding on the front, and first thing that we did is I purchased some, it's kind of like a Turn-A-Bond tape, and I used that to seal on the top and also cut the strips down into a certain width and put over the seam on the front. Then I took the trim molding, fastened it on place, bent it around, and then removed it. And now I'm going to put on the putty tape and then reinstall it, and then probably tomorrow I'll go back and seal it with some silicone. So let me give you a shot of some of the trim molding, what I've done, and where I'm at this moment. So stay tuned. So at the RV surplus store, they had several types of the molding. They had the corner molding, which is what I'm going to be using on the back. It's got a pretty good long leg, and I purchased some of this molding here, but as I test fit on the front, I discovered that leg here just wasn't quite long enough that I wanted. So I went back, I purchased 2 more pieces of this, set up my table saw. My neighbor Jack helped me, and then we cut down, if you can see this here, we cut down this long leg to a shorter leg. And then I took that piece, I bent it around the front, which is here, and now I'm getting ready to put on the putty tape. So as I bent this around the front, the leg is fairly long, and I expected it to buckle just a little bit, which it did, and on the corners, because my radiuses are pretty tight, and all I did is took a wood block and straightened those out, and I'm satisfied with the way it's turned out. So with that, let me show you the front. So I took the Turn-A-Bond tape, which has a kind of a butyl backing and a smooth front. It's about 4 inches wide, and I trimmed it down to what I thought I would need for the front, and then I wrapped it around the corner to make a seal. And so that's on there pretty tight, and then I put the molding over it and fastened it down so it seals pretty good. Then once the molding's on, I'll go back over it with some silicone and seal all the gaps. But that's what we've got so far, and now we're ready to install the trim back on with the putty tape, and then begin the other side. Okay, so the putty tape was applied, and we reinstalled the trim molding back around, and I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm happy with it. And then we have the gaps here that we'll fill in with the silicone or some type of sealant. Make sure it doesn't leak. Let me show you the top here. So the way I seal the top, of course, the rubber roof comes over the side. I put the Turn-A-Bond about a ½ inch over the edge, 4 inches wide, and I spanned all the way across to cover that seal. And there'll be another flat piece of trim that'll fit over top, and I'll fasten it down, and also put some putty tape behind that, and that'll give it a really nice seal. I have another edge molding that's going to go on the side here tomorrow, so we'll trim off our rubber roof. We'll take some adhesive, we'll seal that down real nice and tight, and then we'll install our rail across the sides, and then we'll conquer the back. So that's where we're at right at the moment. Looking good. Good deal. So this is the buckling that I was telling you about, and I expected that because I know that this edge is pretty wide, and also at the top here it buckled in a couple places. So what I'll do is I'll take my block and hammer, and I'll tap those out and straighten them up just a little bit, and be done. I'll pull that off, put my put my Eternabond tape on and then take it back off. Oh, after I put the Eternabond tape on, then I can put the putty tape on, then put this back on. And I still have to trim the bottom. So I started at the top and drilled a few screws, got to the edge. I'd had a couple more holes around the top edge and just slowly bent that down. And of course it won't take that sharp a bend with this wide edge on here. So it is what it is, but we can fix that. So give me a second and I'll give you a shot what that looks like. Okay, so what we did is we tapped it in a little bit, and it's a little wavy, but when we pull it off, I lay this on a flat surface and then I tap it back this way. So we stretch the aluminum a little bit and it straightens it out. And I also took out the crease at the top, and I'll do it the same way. But and then when it's done, then it turns out just like this side, so it's barely noticeable at all, which is fine for me. Cool. At least this side's on. It's sealed. Just a little bit of silicone, and we can call that one done. But that kind of gives you an idea of what it'll look like with that rail on. So let me pull this off. I have to cut the bottom here and then straighten these out just a little bit on the bends and apply my tape and put it back up. Sweet. Getting closer. Alright, stay tuned. Well, I ran out of daylight, so I pulled off the trim, and then tomorrow morning we'll come by. I've got my lines marked where my tape is going to be, and I'll show you how I install that, and then we'll put on the putty tape, and then we'll refasten the trim. And then the front is almost sealed, so I'll be pretty happy about that. Then we'll get the back done, and then we'll work on the sides. Awesome. Okay, stay tuned, more to come. So to install the tape, when I had my trim molding on, I went ahead and marked with a pencil where the edges of the molding are going to be. Then I take my tape and I just kind of line it up close with that edge and push it into place. On the large side like that, and then you fold it down over the edge. Just like so. Pushing in all the nooks and crannies here. So it sort of looks like that once it's on. And it covers that seam really good. Then we put on our putty tape on top of our trim and fasten that down, and then we silicone. Alright, so to install the putty tape, I'm going to lay it on here, and I am going to just come up on the edge just a little bit, just like so. So I'll install it like this. Push this in with my thumb, come back with my fingers and push that in into place just like that. So I've got a little bit on this side, and I'm overlapping the edge here by a little bit. And I'll do that the whole length, and then we'll install. So we're ready to install the trim. Set this up there. Line it up where it should be. Hopefully, if I can get it back in the same spot, I'll be happy. By putting on the tape, I cover up all my holes. Throw down some screws. And let's see if I can't hit the mark, huh? Got to make sure and keep it pressed in. Okay, just like that. Keep adding our screws till it's on. Okay, so now we have the trim installed on the front, and next will be the sides. And I think that looks pretty good. There it is. And then once I get the silicone around the edges and over the screws, then we'll put our insert in, and that should really set it off. So with that, we'll get ready to do the sides on the top, and then we'll cut to the back. So with that, stay tuned. So here's our next step as far as sealing the top. So I masked off the edge here, and then I took contact cement and I put on the rubber roofing and on the side of the trailer, and then once it's tacked up, then I push it down and I seal it. And then my rub rail is going to go across there, and with some putty tape should make a good tight seal. So I'm going to go down on both sides and press that in place, and then we'll start on the corners. Try to get this thing sealed up today in case it rains. Alright, just a real quick walk around before we install the trim molding. Got the top sealed all the way around. We got the corners taped down, top to bottom, on both sides. And this edge is sealed down pretty good too. So, next step is to put the metal on and cut it to fit. And then silicone. Alright, well, this is where we are at this point. So I have back done, top corner, both sides. Got a rail that goes across the top here that seals the rubber roof down. I have both sides on the front finished. And the trim on this side. And the top corner on the back. So, really, as far as trim goes, I just have the wheel wells to do. But at this point, now I'm going to head down to the store, grab me some silicone, button up some heads, and then I can put in my trim. And I'm kind of anxious to do that because I want to see what this thing looks like with it in. So without being too impatient, I'll head down to the store and get that and make sure that that's all sealed. And then the last thing to really do is to caulk all the way around this thing, inside and out, both sides of the trim. So next shot you see will be the trim going in. Alright, stay tuned. Okay, so I've got all the screw heads silicone. Now I'm going to put it in the extrusion. Vinyl insert in the extrusion. This part goes amazingly fast. Of all the things I've done on the trailer, this is probably the fastest. It slips in very well. So, pretty confident that it'll be pretty watertight. Just like that. I'll take a pair of scissors and trim it off the bottom, and then I'll do the pack part. Cool. Well, believe it or not, I got everything done today that I wanted to get done. All of my trim molding is on, except for the wheel wells, which I didn't plan on. And all the screw heads are silicone. And all the insert is put in. I was afraid I wouldn't have enough, but looks like I got everything I needed. So, there it is. Turning out to be a little hot rod. Got the back on also, all the way to the top and around the corners. See if I can't give you a shot of that. It kind of goes like that. And then I have, amongst my mess here, these little end caps that I'll install. And what I'll do is shoot about 50 pounds of silicone in there, and then this will go over the end like this, and I'll screw fasten that down and squish that nice and tight and give it a good seal. That's the idea anyway. Cool. But that's for another day. Alright, one shot of the front, and then I'm going to call it a night. Okay. There it is, Oregon Batmobile. Home away from home. When I get done, I think it's going to be pretty fun. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching, and give it a thumbs up. And if you got any questions, shoot them my way. I'll do my best to answer. And until next time, hey, always stay tuned.